Hello. We're up to Revelation chapter 6, verse 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. So here, the wheat is very expensive, and the wine and oil, don't ever think about that. People want just the bread to eat. In Matthew chapter 4, verse 4, we read, But he, Jesus, answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. He meant that bread is essential for the growth of the body and for survival. But, of course, man needs spiritual food, which is the Word of God. Man without God is nothing, is cursed. All of us can afford buying bread at an affordable prices. But here people will face a very high cost in order to buy bread. We can say that for a single person to get wheat enough to make 1 loaf of bread, which is less than 1 kilogram, he or she needs to spend the full daily wages, denarius, which in Australia is equivalent to around $150 on average. Or the person can get a cheaper grain, less than 3 liters of barley for a day's wage. Awful, isn't it? How about other dependent family members? For example, children who cannot earn money. Poor people will suffer a lot. I remember in 1980 I was in Greece with my wife and a son, 4-year-old. $1 was enough for food for 1 day. How cheap is that? In Leviticus 26:26, and when I have broken, like God is talking about the Jews, and when I have broken the stuff of your bread, like God will judge them by cutting on the bread. What will happen? 10 women shall bake your bread in 1 oven, and they shall deliver you your bread again by weight. So here, because like the oven, 1 oven, there's 10 women because they can't afford burning or operating the other oven. And you shall eat and not be satisfied, not enough food. Also in Ezekiel 4:16, moreover, he said unto me, God said to Ezekiel, Son of man, behold, I will break the stuff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight, and with care, and they shall drink water by measure, and with astonishment, like this surprise, why this happened to them? They know inside, because they departed from God. God is the source of life. The more we close to Him, we get the more blessing. In 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 24 and 25, it says, And it came to pass after this, that Ben-Hadad king of Syria, gathered all his host and went up and besieged Samaria. And there was a great famine in Samaria. And behold, they besieged it until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver. 80, a score is 20. 80 means 80. 80 pieces of silver they would pay for an ass's head. Who would eat it? And the fourth or quarter of a cap, that's another measure a measure of wheat or other material, and the quarter of a cap, that's the measure of dove's dung, like the residual of the dove, for 5 pieces of silver. 5 pieces of silver just to buy the residual of the dove. And women ate their children, and that was true. That was just a sample because it only inflicted Jerusalem. That was only on Jerusalem. We remember Jesus' cry for Jerusalem. God wanted Jerusalem by sending Jesus, and from the beginning, God wanted Jerusalem to be his city, the city of peace. But Jesus cried for her. And in Luke 13, verse 34, he said, O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, which killest the prophets and stonest them that are sent unto thee. So the prophets and any godly man who was sent to Jerusalem was killed by the people of Jerusalem. How often would I have gathered thy children together, as a hen gather her brood under her wings, and you would not. They never listen to God. Of course, the poor people will suffer more than the rich ones, but it won't last for a long time. Because in James we read in chapter 5, verse 3 to 5, ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. Talking about the rich people, they collected treasure for the last day. You have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. You have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter, but their punishment will not delay itself. Thanks.